Hi, I'm Kelly Bowker. Welcome to my channel. Today is the very first day of 2025, and typically on this day, lots of us think about what kind of resolutions do we want to make? What kind of changes would we like to experience during the upcoming year? And what did we accomplish last year? That's pretty typical for people to reflect upon that kind of thing on these days. And I'm no different. I'm thinking about the same kinds of things. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you about my journey with my body. There has been amazing transformation in my life, really and truly, only because of learning a new perspective, a new way of thinking. And my guides have led me so gently down this journey, down this path of understanding. And I want to share it with all of you. I have started so many New Year's making the resolution to lose weight and to start exercising. Not out of any kind of a concern for my health, but because I wanted my jeans to fit better. I wanted to buy smaller jeans. I had a belief in my heart from childhood, somehow or another, I picked it up, that if I wasn't thin, then and if I didn't meet the standard, honestly, if I didn't meet the standard of the women that I saw on the magazines and on TV, that I wasn't lovable, that I wouldn't be loved. I come from a family that has some pretty big people in it, and I was scared to death that I was going to gain weight and that I was going to be heavy like my mom, my big brothers that have battled their weight their whole life. So it's been quite the journey, to be honest. I was 17, I think, and 5 foot 8.5 and weighed 148 pounds. And I became a lifetime member of Weight Watchers at that weight. I think that they wrote down that I could strive to weigh 145 because when I hit 145, they gave me my lifetime membership pin, which is just so stupid. I think back and I think, how did my mother let this happen? How did she let me go to friggin' Weight Watchers like I needed to lose weight when I was so tall and slender, but I saw myself as big. And honestly, I think part of this did have to do with my mom. I think my mom almost was living vicariously through me, that she wanted me to not have the battles that she had had her life. And so I guess she probably thought I was learning these healthy behaviors and that I was going to do so much better because I was going to try to keep myself thin my whole life. Well, what that resulted in was honestly a lifetime. I think I hit the wall when I was about 59, when I had my, what I call my dark night of the soul. And I lived a life of abusing myself with diet and exercise, abusing my body, really at odds with my body, at war with my body. It was me against my body. And oh my gosh, even saying that makes the energy just roll in me because I know what an absolute mistake that is. Not that there's judgments. The guides are whispering in my head right now. It's not about judgment. It's about living your best life, living your healthiest, happiest, most vital life. That's what it's all about. So 3 years ago, I proclaimed on here, you can find the YouTube videos on my channel, that F you, I will never go on another diet again. I'm never going to exercise. I'm not going to do any of it. Screw you all. And that was that. And I started to call my clothes the Kelly Comfort Collection, and I bought stretchy everything and sizes up and everything so things are loose. And I just let myself continue to gain weight. I gained weight, over those 3 years. The first summer or a year ago, this past summer, when I had my physical, my cholesterol was up about 40 points. I always had low cholesterol, plus my good cholesterol was always high, which is a really great thing. And I do have heart disease in my family, and so of course, that's always been a concern. So I was up 40 points over where they want you to be. And I just basically flipped off the whole thing and said, screw you all. And I didn't make any kind of changes at all. This year, when I went to the doctor, I was 80 points higher. That began to niggle at me. That started to grab my attention. But honestly, I really want to share with you, and I truly believe that I'm in good company when I will describe what was going on in my head. I was scared to death to even think about moderating what I ate because I was so afraid that the pendulum would swing and I would go back to that abusive, obsessive, compulsive, watching videos on dieting and exercise all the time, talking about diet and exercise all the time, thinking about what I was going to eat all the time. It consumed me. It consumed me. And I was scared of it. My inner child was scared of it. At this point, I had made wonderful strides on my relationship with my inner child, wonderful strides on being able to identify a trigger. My guides, the first part of my humanity that my guides took an active role in creating the relationship between me and them was my inner child. And so I had worked a long time, 2 years, 2+ years on this relationship with my inner child and learning the tools and techniques that the guides gave me on how to deal with it, how to have the trigger, how to respond to the trigger, how to heal it, how to transmute it, all of that. My inner child was afraid. She was truly anxious and upset and afraid at the thought of me going on a diet for my cholesterol. It just freaked her right out. And so I was working with her and I wasn't thinking about going on a diet. I couldn't think about it. I couldn't think about it because my brain just would be like, I can't do it. But I was trying to think thoughts like, I know that I can be healthier. I'm 61, 62 years old. I want to be vital. I want to be active. I want to be strong. I started thinking those kinds of things. What is it that I want out of my life? And I do believe that our thinking has a huge amount to do with our being. Of course, we know that. It's the law of attraction, however you want to think about it, that we create our own reality. So I just kept thinking that if I just could keep my thoughts as happy as I could possibly keep my thoughts, that the weight and the cholesterol would take care of themselves. And that's what I just kept trying to think that. But the evidence that I could see was my scale creeping up, and so was my cholesterol numbers. So fast forward to this past summer when I had my retreat here at the house, which I'll be having another one in 2025. If you're interested, reach out. I haven't posted the dates for it yet, but it's a fun, wonderful experience. But anyways, when I was having my retreat, we had some new energy come in, and I brought through a being that answered some questions for one of the ladies that was at the retreat who suffers from migraines. She asked about the migraines, and she's, has done a ton of energy work in her life. She's been to healers, she's done all this stuff, and nothing has worked for her headaches. And the being that I was channeling said to her something to the effect of, "You're not going to like this answer, but you will have those headaches until they no longer serve you and you no longer need them." And I'm like, what the hell is up with that? So I say to them from my perspective in my mind, I say, so what does that mean? I'm going to have these problems until I don't need them. How do we figure out how not to need them anymore? What is this all about? So that began my intention and my asking the guides, help me figure this out. I don't understand. I began to really get a strong feeling around that aches and pains and colds and that kind of stuff is not necessarily because my energy got out of whack, because I'm not thinking happy thoughts, because my frequency isn't good. So my body's giving me this problem to get my attention. They started to really drag my attention to that. In the past 6 months or so, a big part of the teaching of my guides have been around understanding, number one, the chakra system. They brought through the understanding of how the lower three chakras are the connection to our humanity. The red chakra is our physical body. The orange chakra is the emotional body, our connection across time, our inner child. And then the yellow chakra is the egoic thinking mind, personality, powerhouse, all that kind of stuff. These are the bottom three chakras. So remember that those of you who know me, they brought through this information about the chakras, lots of information about the chakras when I wrote my second book, which was only about a year after I started channeling. So, and I didn't understand it. I'm going to tell you that, I had 9 angels come through and write a section in my book, and it was a phenomenal experience. It was wonderful and magnificent and magical, but it also was overwhelming, and I only could understand what I could understand. They had to bring me. I wrote that book almost 2 years ago now, and I am just understanding what they were calling me to, just understanding it. So last summer, another thing that I did was a book study. I had about 30 people and myself did a deep dive into my second book. And so they started to unpack the understandings of the different chakras. And I started to make the connection. They had given me very clearly what they have called the 4 pillars of humanity, the 4 pillars of being human. For us to be here today on this couch, I'm comprised of 4 different things. I am my physical body, I am my emotional body, and I am my mental body, and then I am my divine self, the breath of life, my soul, whatever you want to talk about it. The part of God that lives within me is the 4th pillar. And they have been telling me and using the words, the integration between our humanity, the 3 pillars are our humanity, 3 lower chakras from the heart down, those 3 lower chakras, that's our humanity. From the heart up, basically the top chakras are the connection to the divinity. The lower 3 are our connection to Mother Earth. When we come together in the heart chakra, when we are balanced in that energy, that's where the magic is happening. And I can tell you a whole lot of stuff about that magic. But to get back to the idea around my physical body, which I really believe is important today to share, is I began to realize that they were pulling my attention to the, thinking of these like a separate entity from myself. I created that relationship with my inner child very clearly, like she was this person that I see her play, I hold her, I love her, I see her as a being that requires my intentional divine intervention and love and nurturing and all that kind of stuff. That I owned. I owned that concept. I got it. They brought me there. Well, now they were starting to give me those same kinds of feelings around my physical body. Right about that time, I happened on to Suzanne Giesemann interviewing Jill Bolte Taylor. Jill Bolte Taylor wrote A Stroke of Insight, which I had as part of my curriculum with my teaching. It was a great book. Well, this second book that Jill has written I think it's called Whole Brain Living. I haven't read it because just listening to her describe the 4 distinct parts of the brain and what those 4 distinct parts of the brain, anatomical parts of the brain, do, I was on the edge of my chair going, holy crap on a cracker. This is what my guides have been teaching. This is the science, the scientific underpinning for the way they have been describing these things. So Jill she calls it the characters, I believe, and she encourages people to actually name those 4 different components and to interact with them like we're a team. Like this is a team. I'm going to we're going to have a board meeting. We're all going to talk this over. We're going to make an intention and we're all going to work together to create that intention that's for the highest good of Kelly. That resonated completely with me. They took me to that video. There's no question in my mind. So I began to realize that I could have a relationship with my body. I named my body Cordelia. Cordelia is too long, so I call her Cordy. And Cordy and I now talk back and forth. And I've learned that yes, is pain and illness communication? Yes, it is. But is the wonderful hot tea in my mouth communication? To be savored, to be acknowledged. It's a relationship. To realize that when I smell, I hugged a friend last night and she smelled delicious. And I told her she smelled so good. And I thought to myself, oh, Cordy, thank you for that. That was just so beautiful, wasn't it? What we see, what we hear, what we feel with our skin, all of it is communication. When we start acknowledging the communication and we develop a loving, nurturing, respectful relationship between that which is my human body as part of my humanity, and me, the me that is the whole of me, it's a relationship. So I started down this road very awkwardly, just like it was when I was trying to make this relationship with my inner child. I had to figure it out. And so I tried. I tried this, I tried that, and that's what I've done with my body. I talked to Cordy just like I would talk to a person who is sitting here. I ask her, "What do you need? Is this okay? What do you think about this? Can you give me some input?" Perfect example. Mike and I went for a walk this morning. One of my knees was a little bit owie as I was walking. So I put my attention into my knee and I sent my knee some love. And I'm like, "Are you okay? Do you need me to stop? Are you trying to tell me that this is too much today?" Because I mean, going for a walk is a really healthy thing to do. And then I just kind of settled into my body and I said, "Okay, Cordy, if you are okay with me continuing on, have the knee pain stop by the time I get to this point. And if I get to this point and I've walked it out and the knee pain has stopped, I'll know that you want me to keep going." I got to the point and I took a minute. I'm like, "Yeah, the knee pain's gone." So I kept going. It's a collaboration. It's loving, it's gentle, it's a collaboration. It isn't about the size of my jeans. It is about me loving me. The very first, if you've ever read my first book, and I talk about it's about basically the first 6 months of my journey. The first teachings that the guides brought through to me was around understanding the relationship between myself and myself. And they have built on that for the whole, how many years has it been? Has it been 3 years that I've been, it's almost, in this month, it is 3 years since I channeled the first time. It is incredible. It is simply an incredible, incredible thing. The layers of understanding, I had no idea that's what it was about when the angels came through in my second book. I had no idea that this is what they were calling me to. But what I can tell you is that as I have acknowledged all of the aspects of my humanity, and as I have developed that relationship, that loving relationship with that which is me as a human, I chose to come to planet Earth. I did that with my own free will, and I agreed to the rules of planet Earth. We have our humanity to experience planet Earth. That is what this is all about. That's a whole other thing that we will talk more about, I'm sure. But I want to get back to this idea around my physicality and what are some of the practical things that I'm doing. On 12/12, the guides dropped into my mind to do an activation. And I'm like, okay, one of the things they want me to do is to own what I'm able to do. I have what I now know is an incredible reach. When I connect to my energy, and I uh, push my energy out with my intention, when I reach, I absolutely can reach across dimensions, timelines, incarnations, and realms. New dimensions are opening to me all the time. It's incredible. I won't go into all of that right now, but I'm just here to tell you that it's incredible. And as I have developed this understanding around all of the parts of my humanity, my stability in the world is just exponentially expanding. I am so much clearer, so much stronger in my mind and in my understanding. And I feel like I could stand against a tsunami. I don't want to, mind you, but I feel like I got the tools to do that. So, um, on 12/12, I put out a Zoom call and I did an activation. And one of the things the guides told us to do was that each of us to set a very clear intention, you know, angels and team, I'm asking for help with this, whatever this was. And they told me to come up with what I wanted help with too. And when I thought about it, I said to them, I want help with creating a loving, nurturing, healthy, vitality relationship with my physical body. That I wanted to, my understanding to get more, that I wanted to expand my understanding. So then it's going to affect my health and my wellness, but also that I would be able to bring it to you all and share it and teach it and expand on it because it's been such a huge part of my life. And it's a huge part of everyone's life to whatever degree that it is. Either you're crappy, unhealthy, or you're, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I don't mean to, that sounded pretty judgy. I don't mean it to, but it is a huge part of all of our lives, finding this balance. So we did the activation, and after the activation, I just started to get these funny little impulses. I'm going to describe it like that, but it would be the guides would just drop in a nudge, and I would be like, I just would have this knowing that, oh, I should do this. Oh, yes. Oh, of course, I should do this. So some of the thises that they started to kind of bring into the front of my mind was things like toning inward. Now, I know this is going to sound kind of weird, but I began toning a while ago. And when I tone, I often will picture a loved one's face or a situation. I picture something that I want, something I want to manifest. I use toning for all kinds of stuff. And I would sit, set my intention, ask for the angelic support, and then ooh, I would send out that tone. And I had every bit of um, confidence that that tone was carrying that intention to wherever it needed to go. They said tone inward. So I sat with it and I took a breath, and then I focused my intention, and I went ooh. And with my mind and with my intention, I felt the vibration go into me. I used my attention to move it all the way up and down my chakras. I used my attention to move the tone, and I would tone over and over again, and I'd move the tone. If my knee was bothering, if my neck hurt, I would tone into that. I would use my beautiful thinking mind, and I would think things like, all that it is needed. I love you so much. I'd move my attention to my neck, and I would in my mind, I would see the vertebrae. I would see the tendons in the muscles. I'd see the little cells, and I would just focus, and I would, in my mind, I would say things like, I love you so much. Thank you for being such a wonderful part of my life. I'm asking that all that you need is given to you in this tone. Whatever you need, the angels are going to bring it to you. And I just kept toning. I would say things like, I want moderation in my life. I want it to be easy to eat healthy. I don't want to white knuckle, and I don't want to be hungry. But I want my body to be a good, healthy weight. I want my cholesterol to be exactly what it needs to be. And I would tone my blood. I would tone, and I would tone my heart and my lungs, and I would see the blood circulating through my body, and I just would bring those tones. And I would just circulate my blood as I did those tones, and I would just say it over and over again. I want to move. I want to move my body so that it feels good to move my body. I want to be strong and vital. I want it to be easy. I don't want it to be hard. I just want everything to fall into place. I want it to just be natural for me. I want it to be just my nature to be a healthy person, a strong, vital person. And I would sit in my meditations, and I would just tone, and I would meditate on that. Not saying it over and over again, but I would tone to my mind, to my thinking mind. And I would say, I named my thinking mind Mrs. B. And I would say, Mrs. B, I want you to help me in this. I want you to not perseverate on what we're going to eat or when we're going to eat. I want you to help me make good decisions around what kinds of foods have the best nutrition for my body. But I don't want you spinning about it. And I talked to my inner child, and I said to my beautiful inner child, please don't be afraid, honey. I'm not going to go all or nothing again. I'm not going to let my pendulum swing. You don't have to be afraid. We're just going to love ourselves. We're going to love ourselves with everything we eat, whether it's a bag of chips or it's a salad. We are going to love ourselves while we consume it. We are not going to judge ourselves. We are not going to be mean to ourselves. We're not going to beat up on ourselves. So I brought my whole team of humanity into my intention. Part of this came from when I realized how clearly I made my mind up about my interaction with you all, with the world, because I'm retired. I made my mind up that this was not going to be work, that this was going to just be a natural unfolding, that if they wanted something to happen, that it would just be tickety-boo, and it would happen, and that was absolutely fine, that I didn't have to put my nose down and try to make things happen, that I would follow my natural nudges, that they would work in people's lives, and people would follow their natural nudges, and it would just unfold. And for those of you who've been following me, know that that's exactly how my life has unfolded since this journey has begun. I do not work at it at all. It is my joy. It is my passion. What I do feels exactly right. And when other people try to tell me the shoulds, you should do this and you should do that, I know that that's not my truth. I wanted that level of confidence and that level of understanding to be around my physicality as well. And it had never occurred to me to ask my guides to help me. It hadn't even occurred to me to do that, to use what I know that I have access to on something like my physical body. It just didn't occur to me. But when it did, that was when I started to be like, okay, now I'm understanding. Now I'm beginning to understand. Remember what I asked for in 12:12. They started to give me these understandings and these knowings that this is all part of it. So when I'm thinking about what I'm going to eat, I try not to too much, but I do I set my intention to make the most nutritious choice that I can make and to be balanced. I try to make nutritious choices. I love to have chips with my sandwich. I've I've had a friend show me how she makes beautiful sandwiches with those little thin rice wraps that you make spring rolls out of. I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm not, see my inner child. I'm not being mean. I'm not depriving. I'm making choices. I'm making changes that are healthy, that are good for me. And I'm not perseverating. So Mrs. B isn't perseverating. My inner child, I call her Sweet Pea. Sweet Pea is, she's feeling secure. She's feeling okay. She's not feeling nervous that I'm going to get carried away. And then my physical body is for the first time starting to feel loved. I look at myself. I I do things like massage my knee, just rub it lovingly, put my energy into my hands and put my focus and ask for the help of the guides, and I lay my beautiful hands on my knee with just love, asking the guides to give every cell in that knee just what it needs. Am I still having pains? Yeah, I am. I'm lame for one thing because I'm exercising for the first time in 3 years. And so I'm lame, but it's a happy lame. When I get a pain that's not that kind of a feeling, I tend to it. I use ice. I know how to take care of my body. I'm doing the things that I know that my body needs. It is such a different way of going about life. Now, do I know that I'm going to take off any of these extra pounds that I've put on? I feel like I'm going to. I don't know that I'm going to, and that's not a measure. There's a whole bunch of stuff around getting on scales. You can imagine. I know that I'm preaching to the choir here. This morning, I thought, because it's January 1st, I thought, do we want to get on the scale? I got on the scale a couple of times over the last few weeks. And they said, no. My knowing said, no, once a month is all. And that's enough. And I said, okay, that's going to be our commitment then. And I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to give in to the temptation when I've had good days, see if those scales have come down. Because that is my intention, is from my place of sovereignty, my intention is to love myself unconditionally. Doesn't matter what I weigh, doesn't matter the size of my pants, but I'm going to love myself through the activities that bring strength. I want to be doing this work when I'm 100 years old. I see myself doing this when I'm 100. And being that cool old lady that people like to talk to and goes on TV shows and things like that. I love the idea of that. I love my life. I love what I'm doing. I have been blessed with this whole new world of things to share and teach. And yes, it's purpose. It is my purpose. I do feel that though it is my journey, I love what it feels like to share this knowing. I loved it. I taught for 23 years and I loved being a teacher. I shared what I knew about being a nurse with others. And now I'm sharing what I know about my spirituality. So what I am seeing is this beautiful, beautiful clarity around the integration of our humanity with our divinity. And that as we are bringing all of those things together, we're going to be the best versions of ourselves. We're going to be the best versions of ourselves. In a year, I'll probably talk about the results. And did it change the scale? I'm sure, you know me, I'm sure I'll be putting updates. But I really believe that this is a new way to go about how we eat and how we exercise. So let's talk about exercise a little bit. I have always, if I didn't have time, if I didn't have time to get at least that 30 minutes of cardio in Hell, it didn't matter. If it wasn't going to get my metabolism up and burn calories, well, there's no sense in doing it. I didn't, if it wasn't going to change the size of my fracking jeans, I didn't give a shit about doing it. Now I talk to my body. Like if I'm sitting and I start to feel a little tension in my neck, I move. I listen to my body. I move it in all the different directions. I give myself those nice rolls. I put things in the microwave and I do a little bit of a crunch, not a crunch, but a knee bend while I'm waiting for my tea to zap. I stretch as often as I think of it. When I'm sitting, I stretch. I stretch in my bed before I get up because it feels good. And I say, "Good morning, Cordy. How are you this morning?" And I let myself move in all kinds of directions. And I get my fingers going and I roll my feet and I wiggle my toes and I bring my knees up to my chest and I thrash around in the bed. And and then guess what? When I get out of the bed, there's not that, that I was experiencing. I'm listening to my body. Our bodies need to move. They need to move. And I'm just listening. I'm setting my intention when I do my meditations. I tone to doing my exercises without thought, without it being a drudge, that it's going to feel natural to me. It's going to just be fun. That's what I'm toning. I tone to my mind. I tone to my inner child. I tone to my body. It's going to just feel so good. It's just going to be who I am. It's going to be second nature. There's no way I'm going to have more than a few days go by that I don't do something beautiful for my body, even if it is sitting on the potty and toning to my feet, which I do. Thanking my feet, loving my feet, sending what my feet need. When I send my tone to anything, I send the intention for the highest good of it. So this is the journey. This is the journey, and I am considering putting together like maybe a 6 or an 8 week commitment where I have a gathering once a week with the intention around our physical body, and using the whole of our mind, spirit, and body, using the whole of us to support the greatest version of the healthiest, most vital, most incredible versions of ourselves that we can be. And if you're interested in that, send me an email. Become part of my tribe, because I do lots of free things and I do lots of things where there's a little bit of a charge. I put in the description under here, there's the link to the stuff that I'm offering, and you can see what there is. I would love to get to know you personally. But also, I'm going to continue to do my free stuff on YouTube. Absolutely. I want this knowing to go across this whole planet, because I have struggled with this my whole life, and I'm finally beginning to feel free. Please know that I'm not there, that that perseveration will get started. It's a friggity frackin' habit. Well, you go to the refrigerator to get something for breakfast, and it's like, well, there's this many calories in that, and there's that many calories more. You don't want to have that, and then I'll stop myself and I'll say, it isn't about the calories. It's not about the calories. It's about the nutrition. What is the most nutritious thing that's also yummy? Because I'm a foodie. I like good stuff. What is the most nutritious thing we could have this morning? What kind of decisions can we make for us? Come on, gang. And that's how I think about it. Let's think about this together. And I'll say, Mrs. B, I need you to stop perseverating. You're going around and around. I need you to really try hard. I love you. You're a beautiful part of who I am. I love my thinking mind. I love my egoic brain. I love being Kelly Colleen Bowker. I love my personality. I want but I want her to feel comfortable. That egoic brain is about safety. So she's very, very focused and oriented on the task at hand. Okay, we're going to be healthy. That means we got to lose weight because that's the belief I've had my whole friggity fracking life. But no. So I say to her, no, that's not our truth anymore, honey. I love you so much. I love you, Kelly. But that's not our truth anymore. Our truth is we just want to be strong. We want to grow old vitally. We want to kick butt when we're 100. We are going to do this. We are going to do this together. And I just keep re and it's changing all the time. That's why I think that the 8 or 9 week or 6 to 8 week thing would be a positive thing, because they are dropping new understandings, new perspectives, new ways of thinking about stuff. That's what it is. It's just a new way of thinking about it. How many times have all of you, this is a lifestyle. This is not a diet, it's a lifestyle. Oh my God, if I've heard that. Well, guess what? I'm going to drink Black Russians. I'm going to eat chips. I'm going to have cake and cookies and pie and all the goodies of the world. I'm going to have all that stuff. I'm going to have all that stuff. But what I'm doing now is I have introduced the thought into my beingness that, oh, it's so easy for me to be satisfied with just a little bit. It's just so easy for me to be. And I tone to my mind. It's so easy for me to just be satisfied with a little bit. Oh, it's just so easy. You don't even have to try. And I tone into my brain. I tone into my thinking. I tone to Mrs. B. I tone it to my inner child because I want the emotional support. I don't want there to be that fear of not having enough, that fear, all of the emotional stuff that goes into why do we need to eat? Why do we overeat? Why do we eat the whole friggity frackin' bag of chips? Nothing wrong with having a handful of chips. It's not the most healthy thing to eat them by the bag. And that's just the friggin' truth of it. Oh, gracious, that brings me to one more thing that I really want to share with you. They gave me such clarity around praying over what I eat. Think about the different studies that we've seen on YouTube where they have a glass of water and they put a word under the glass of water, and then they freeze it and they look at how the freezing looks. How does the ice crystals look? And the difference between the water that had the word love or peace or joy compared to like hate and ugly or whatever, those kinds of words, the energy of those words change the actual frequency or patterning of the ice crystals. We're 2/3 water. You guys, think about that. We are 2/3 water. So we have the ability with our intention, with our toning, with our praying, to change the structure of the food that we eat. They said to me, this was in my own meditation, but they said that now this is nothing to do with me being all for or against organic or not. It's just a point that they used to make a point with me. They said, because when I think about eating organic, grass-fed, that's all that good, healthy stuff. That's my thinking about it. And the processed crap, that's the bad stuff. That's the thinking. They said that if you prayed over something that wasn't organic, like say we're looking at two different apples, one organic apple, an apple that's not organic, that if one you put your intention into and you bless that apple and the other one you don't, the one with the blessing is more healthy for your body than the organic one. Now, if you do both, that's all the better. That's exactly what they said to me. So I'm not telling anybody what they should eat, but what I am saying is develop the habit, and boy, it's a hard habit. I'm going to tell you, I'm struggling with it because I haven't said grace ever in my life. At the holidays probably, that kind of thing. So when I think of it, I will drop into my heart and I will send the energy and I will pray and I will thank the universe for all the food that I'm going to eat today, all the food that's in my house. I will tone to my food that's in my house. I tone and I try. I might be halfway through my meal when I realize, oh, I haven't said grace. I will just bless this food, bless it to my body, bless my digestive system, bless my beautiful, beautiful Cordy for utilizing it to the highest good for my body. And I just will put that beautiful energy right into that food when I think of it. And my intention is to get into the habit of praying over my cups of tea, over my glasses of water, to put that energy into it. And if I even do it after the fact, that's better than not doing it. It's halfway consumed. I bless it within my body. I bless it in the glass. And that's how I have been. And it feels wonderful. It feels wonderful. You know, like I say, in 6 months or a year, when I have my next summer, when I go and have my cholesterol checked, the proof will be in the pudding. Is this going to make the change? But you know what? Even if it doesn't change those numbers, I feel so much more connected to myself. It feels so good to take the time. I give myself hand massages and foot massages. I use, I've got all that stuff. When you're my age, you've collected it all over the years. I've got the rollers and I got all the things that you can massage your body with. I do it out of love. Out of love, I roll my legs and I roll my arms and I'm focused on, I'm doing this for you because I love you. I'm giving this to you, Cordy, because I love you so much and I'm so appreciative for you. I know that's powerful. I know that's powerful, and it is a beautiful way to live. And for the first time in my life, I can honestly say I am beginning to love the whole of me. I didn't even understand that I didn't. When I was making these videos 2 years ago, or whenever I started making the first YouTube videos, and we were talking about loving ourselves, and I began that journey and I gave it all that I knew how to do from the place of understanding that I had. I think there's something in the Bible about that you only can do from your own understanding. Now my understanding is so much more. I'm getting all of these external validations. Jill Bolte Taylor's book was one, but there's a whole. I was talking with a friend and she shared it's a kind of therapy. It's called family. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a kind of therapy. And when I was telling her about this whole concept, she's like, "Oh my gosh, Kelly, you are talking about the underpinning of blah 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 family therapy." And I'm like, "Really?" And she goes, "Yeah." She said, "We teach this." She's a social worker. She said, "We teach this to people, how to activate their whole selves." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" I mean, it just was so validating. So, I know that for me, I'm on the right track. I'm inviting you along for the journey, along for the ride. Give things a try in your own energy. How does it feel to you to try these different things? That toning, if you do nothing else, the toning with your intention. If you're, say you're put yourself on a diet and you are really craving chips, tone to the craving. Tone to your mind, tone to your emotions around the craving, tone to your body around the craving. And then see if a bite of it would be enough. Or eat the whole, bless it, put your whole blessing into it and eat the whole damn thing. We're still making progress around self-love. So I hope this has been a help to you. One of my big intentions for this new year is I want my tribe to get bigger and bigger and bigger. I feel so blessed to have access to the knowing that I have access to. I'm so blessed that I can hear what my guides tell me and that they can speak through me to you. It is such a beautiful, beautiful blessing, and I invite you along. If you want to become part of my tribe, my email address is in the description below. Send me an email and just say, I'd love to be added to your tribe list, and I will add you. And then, like I say, usually about once a week I put out an email and I tell people what I'm up to, what I've got coming up in the week, and lots of times we do free one-to-ones where I'll put the link in the email, and it's a free Zoom. You get to come and spend time with me, ask questions, have a conversation. It's great fun. We really are all becoming friends. It's wonderful. I love all of you completely. And it feels wonderful to have you out there loving me. It's a blessing. So I appreciate it so much. And I know all of you don't, and that's okay too. But I just want to say thank you. Subscribe, like my videos, put questions down below. Absolutely put questions. I love to be able to respond to people's questions. Blessings to you all. Bye bye.